I can introduce myself.
Yeah, I think that's great. Do it. Do it.
Yeah, yeah. One of you guys up here. Yeah.
I'm here.
Hello. Good afternoon. My name is Melvis, and I'm the executive director at the Canton Foundation. This afternoon, we're going to be talking about what Canton is and why the quadrillion-dollar problem is only solvable by Canton. So over the past couple of months since 2026 started, the Grim Reaper has been very, very busy. As you can see, across all these different doors, he's been going down and slaying a bunch of different protocols. And one of the key things is, why aren't projects doing well this year? Next slide. At the end of the day, it's because many of them have been launched with or without strong core utilities or strong core financial value, or the hype cycles have just passed and they're just trying to survive. And that's why, so far, as you can see, pretty much only two protocols that have real strong core utility are doing well. And today, it's been Canton Coin and also Hyperliquid. And beyond following this, through the course of this presentation, we're going to share with you what is Canton, who is building on Canton, and why is Canton here today. So the main question is, what is Canton? Canton is a public permissionless blockchain that was purposely built for institutional finance, entrepreneurs, and also early stage developers. We provide the ability for launching applications that have configurable privacy, controls, and also the core value of crypto, which is interoperability, composability, and also programmability. Ultimately, Canton combines the core things that people are looking for when they come to build. One of the main things that many blockchains enable the ability for mobility of assets in a 24/7 markets. But then one of the things that's missing is privacy. And the ability to enable privacy allows for these builders and developers to be able to build applications that can enable for tapping into institutional capital, because at the end of the day, privacy is a core tenet around things that institutions do. In the sense that with institutions, they are heavily regulated. They may have client confidentiality clauses to abide by. And lastly, they may have internal proprietary data that they don't want to be always publicly permanent available on the internet. Beyond privacy and also mobility, within Canton, our token economy is structured so that incentives are aligned. Everyone who's contributing to a network, providing some sort of utility, is rewarded in Canton Coin for the abilities that they're bringing to the network. To think about what Canton is, going back to the early phases of the internet, back then, it started out as intranets, where there were small groups of networks that were collaborating within a closed network, and then eventually evolved to be a connected network of networks. It's the same thing with Canton. You can build an application that can have its own sovereign capabilities of privacy, controls, permissions, and governance, and then still have the capability of interoperating these private subnets with other applications on the network that could be private, that could be public, that could be a mix of the two. So the best corollary to show this is on the internet with one browser, you can go to a public website like the sports, news, or Wikipedia. And with that same browser, you can also go to your bank account or go to a government website, which is very access controlled and protected. And then outside of that too, on Canton, with one browser, with one node or one wallet, you're able to tap into public applications and at the same time, private applications as well. So we bring the best of both worlds into one main public blockchain that can let you build what you really want. What are the key things that sustains a good network? At the end of the day, it all comes down to assets, applications, users, and infrastructure. Within Canton, we have over 600 different partners who are all contributing to the viability of this network that we have, which is enabling people to launch applications with strong core value across utility, financial value, and also social value, should they choose to have those components. Today, Canton currently facilitates the transactions of some of the largest financial institutions, such as Goldman Sachs, HSBC, BNP Paribas, all the way to some of the largest financial markets infrastructure providers like NASDAQ, the DTCC, and also TradeWeb and Broadridge itself. Beyond the largest institutions, we also facilitate the ability for builders to launch applications within our DeFi ecosystem. So we have builders launching apps across perps, prediction markets, lending and borrowing, and even vaults products as well. Today, Canton is basically your favorite protocol's favorite protocol partner. So this is a quick overview of what the network of networks that we have looks like. There are some apps that are on a network that have their own sovereign applications, but then due to the structure of the network that we have, they're able to compose transactions with others across Canton that may be public or private should they choose to enable those components. And now I'll pass it on to my colleague, Jatin, to talk about the applications on the network.
Thank you so much. First of all, thank you so much whosoever is listening here. Thank you so much for who is actually here knowing about how to play with the major leagues when you are talking about privacy, the next generation of institutional finance. You heard about what is Canton Network, what makes us special. Now, what is the call to action here? You know, how to move ahead, how to actually get a taste of the whole pie. So, what can we do to get started building on Canton Network? People think it's very hard, it's very gatekeeping, but we are here to tell you it's actually pretty simple to get started. So currently, a general developer toolkit for anybody who wants to build on Canton Network is very simple. First of all, Canton Network runs on its own smart contract language called DAML. DAML is the smart contract language responsible for providing one of the privacy layers that we are very proud of, right? So you can define who can see what. You can define who is responsible for what kind of operations across your entire experience on Canton Network, whether it's developing a dApp or whether it's creating an entire platform for much more of a use cases. The other part of the here, as you can see in the diagram, is once you have the DAML expertise, you thought about, OK, so I'm coming from a public blockchain experience, right? I'm coming from XYZ of the world. Now, can Canton provide me with the right toolings and the right APIs and the right sets of these resources which can help me get started, right? So we have diverse APIs from on-ledger APIs to TypeScript SDKs to on-ledger transaction APIs that helps you fetch like raw data out of a ledger. We also have wallet SDKs. We have the dApp SDKs. If you are somebody who is more interested to work on an exchange side, if you are interested to create a wallet on us, or maybe like a wallet or exchange-based utility, we have more direct SDKs to complete the entire workflow instead of you putting hours and days and weeks and if not months to basically do it from the scratch. So Canton Network's tooling is already equipped for all of you to get started. And then we have education. So anybody who just wants to get a taste of what it actually feels to deploy your first DAML smart contract, you have two ways. You can go to the official documentation, or you can just take a certification, right? Many of us are still very old school. We want some videos, we want some scripts, we want a little bit of hand-holding when we are getting started, right? And it's nothing to be afraid of. I can accept that I needed a tutorial when I was learning Solidity, right? I was at the same place. So we still have a training and certification in place for anybody who wants to build on us. Moving on, generally, this is something that we have covered. But if I am a developer, I'm talking in a pure developer perspective here. You are a builder. You do not care about anything in the world. What can make you the best person to come on Canton as a builder versus any other public chain, right? I'm just going to directly come to the point here and make you the main points that you need to think about. First of all, on any public chain, there is always a network-wide throughput limits, right? Everybody has to scale somehow. They use scaling services. And that's the reason why we have L2s of the world. And there was a point in the past when we even, God forbid, had L3s in the world, right? But when you come to Canton Network, it is independent scaling apps, network of network solutions, everything getting synchronized by a global synchronizer, right? So we have built the network with the intention to scale from the day one instead of thinking about what if we can or we should or can we scale in the future. So when we talk about builders, scalability should not be an afterthought, and that's what the network actually built on. The next thing, within the same contract or via the bridges, but on the Canton network, you define. So when you go to public chains, you use the bridges, you have to change your contracts, you have to use integrations and what not headaches of the world. But on Canton, on the smart contract level, we have made it so that while writing the very smart contract of your app, you define who can see what and who is responsible for what. So on the smart contract level, it gives you all the flexibility instead of thinking about the bridges and the integrations of the world when you deploy it later on, which, believe me, I am a builder, and I know it's one of the biggest headaches out there right now. The next thing is we have more utilities when it comes to atomic swaps of the privacy, because you think about, oh, so based on the slide that we just saw 2 minutes ago, everybody is having their own network. So what about the atomicity? What about the composability, right? But as I told you, we have the global synchronizer responsible for making sure that the data and the information is all synced up throughout the network. So it's not only scalable, but the atomicity and the composability is actually in the main consensus itself. You talk about Solidity, Rust, and Move model. That's where we are different. Essentially, we have something called DAML, which I told you about, which is responsible for providing the main security. It's more or less like you are using templates. You're defining choices. You are defining, instead of the logic, you are more and more defining on how the permissions are going to be handled by what parties in what ways. So it's much more easier to understand the concept of privacy when you know who can see what or who can do what. That is one of the best things that I personally like about the DAML language itself, right? Other thing is state transactions on a shared state and immutable contract with choice. Now, here is something that you should know. DAML has something called choices, right? So instead of being immutable by doing any other of defining functions, or there is like a customization in your smart contract level, DAML already provides something like choices. It is similar to function, but you can actually define which particular parties or which particular entities can actually give you much more observatory, signatory, admin, or any kind of other like access to the overall situation. So when you're a builder, all the things that makes you wanna like bang your head against a wall, then how can I do this in my smart contract? Can I do this in my smart contract? And if it is possible, how much time am I going to spend on a random YouTube video to actually learn? When you talk about DAML, it's not that at all hard, because everything is built between the flow of the smart contract itself. So that is one of the major builder-based differences that you can think about Canton network, and why they actually outweigh the general mentality that we have always been building on a public network. Moving on, I'm just going to cut to the chase, right? Everybody here knows, OK, so these are like the technical differences. That is great. This is your smart contract language. What can I do tonight to build? So you know what? Let's build today. So if you want to just get started, if you want to see what a normal language-based template looks like, app looks like, there are two things. First is we have our own quick start repo here. You can basically use the same quick start repo and just play with it, make your first smart contract, create your first app, experience the flow of building an application on Canton network. It is publicly available. If you are somebody who is a part of a hackathon here at the ETHDenver, we have a bounty. So we have resources for the hackathon that you can tap. This is also available on your DevFolio portal with Canton network bounties. And then we have our official documentation, for which we are also putting a bounty on, right? And that's the community. Now I'm passing on to Shreyas to tell you more about the opportunities in the ecosystem.
Thank you so much, Jatin. So from Melvis, you've heard the why of building on Canton, and Jatin's told you about the how. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the Canton Network Development Fund. So we've got that grants program launching very, very soon. Next slide, please. Here are the different things that you can apply for a grant to. Core R&D, reference implementations, critical infra, developer tooling, security work, and DeFi liquidity. So if you're doing any of these things, come please talk to us. We're at the booth. You can find us after the talk here. We'd love to help you support you write your proposal and submit your request for a grant. Next slide, please. Cool. So at ETHDenver, we've got a bunch of different bounties for you to support as a builder. Oh, I think it's... we've got 2 different tracks for builders to come talk to us about. The first track is building a Canton network application. So anything that you can think of that's leveraging the privacy model of Canton network, you can build that, and we'd love to reward your price for it if you win. And the second track is developer experience and tooling. So this is truly focused on getting your feedback as an Ethereum developer, coming into a Canton ecosystem and trying out our tools, trying out our documentation, giving us all the feedback to help make the experience better for all of the developers in our ecosystem. So with that said, if you want to participate in the hackathons, again, come find us, come talk to us, come check out the Discord, and we'd love to see you build really cool projects on Canton. Next slide. With that said, do we have any projects that are building on Canton Network in the room? Oh, there we go. Do you want to come up quickly and talk to us about what you're building? Complete coincidence, by the way.
Hey, I'm head of capital markets at Temple. We're a financial markets infrastructure provider and builder. We just launched the first self-custodial central limit order book. We've also got some vault infrastructure that we're tooling up that marries both DeFi yield strategies and traditional finance strategies. Lots of different things that we're building around the ecosystem, so happy to talk to anybody afterwards.
So we're T-Rise. We're a tokenization company. We already have a proven track record. We structured over $500 million in EVM blockchains. But we're now changing, and we're switching and tokenizing on Canton because it's where the institutions are. We've seen a lot of attraction there and a lot of demand on the side of our customers. So we provide from A to Z the legal, the compliance, and we also provide post-issuance monitoring of their assets. Yeah, and it's been a great experience with the Canton network so far. They are a really solid team, very experienced, and they take into consideration every aspect of the needs for institutions. And so yeah, it's been really great to build on Canton.
What's up, y'all? We're with HiFi. HiFi is a stablecoin infrastructure provider, which basically means we're really, really good at on and off ramping to and from stablecoins between about 30 different currencies globally. One of my favorite recent use cases of Canton, we had a large bank within Asia come to us looking to get better treasury management operations. They understood that stablecoins allow them to be more efficient on that front, as you are. However, they were a little concerned about having their transactions exposed to competitors or other people within the space. And so we were able to mitigate that with our relationship with Canton, saying that we could run their transaction across a privacy chain and on-ramp their flows from UK, Euro nations into USDCX on Canton, and then route that over Canton into their, and repatriate into their bank account within their home country.
Thank you. My name's Ryan Wishnow. I'm head of partnerships for Obsidian Systems. We're a service provider on Canton, and I can tell you, I've never seen the amount of interest in a chain that I have in Canton. We're working with one of the largest stock exchanges right now in the world to implement on Canton. We're working with a giant financial service provider that processes over, $100 billion of transactions in a very short period of time, and there really was no other solution but Canton. So the amount of institutional interest just keeps building, it's snowballing, and it's really exciting to see where this network's gonna go.
All right, thank you, everyone. Thank you so much to all the ecosystem projects. If you want to come find us after the talk, we'll be at the booth. Do come talk to us or start building on Canton. Thank you all.